안녕하세요. Good afternoon. How are you?
네, 반갑습니다. 대한민국 대통령이 안보리 의장 자격으로 안보리 회의를 주재하는 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 특히 AI 관련해 전 유엔 회원국을 대상으로 열리는 첫 공개 토의의 주제를 맡게 돼서 매우 의미 깊게 생각합니다. 1991년 유엔 가입 이래 대한민국 정부가 안보리 이사국을 맡은 건 이번이 세 번째입니다. 유엔의 도움으로 전쟁의 폐허를 딛고 민주화와 경제 번영을 동시에 달성한 우리 대한민국이 이제 인류의 평화와 공동 번영을 위해 막중한 역할과 책임을 다하고자 합니다. 오늘 회의 또한 대한민국이 더 나은 세계를 만드는 데 앞장서고 있음을 보여주는 중요한 계기가 될 것입니다. 오늘날 인공지능 기술의 발전은 우리의 일상을 변화시키는 것을 넘어 국제적인 안보 환경까지 급격하게 변화시키고 있습니다. 80년 전 출범한 유엔의 주요 관심사는 새롭게 등장한 핵무기의 위협을 국제사회가 어떻게 관리하느냐였습니다. 이제 인공지능이라는 새로운 위협과 도전에 걸맞는 새로운 거버넌스를 모색해야 될 때입니다. 대한민국은 인공지능이 가져온 기술 혁신이 국제 평화와 안보에 기여할 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 이끌어왔습니다. 이번 유엔 총회에서 AI와 국제 평화 안보를 주제로 공개토의를 제안한 이유도 많은 회원국들의 지혜를 모으고 공동의 대응 방안을 모색하기 위해서입니다. 평화, 안보, 그리고 인류를 위한 AI를 위해 심도 있는 논의가 이루어지기를 기대합니다. 감사합니다.
The Republic of Korea, as it will be the first time that a President of the Republic of Korea chairs a Security Council meeting in the capacity of President of the Security Council. It is even more meaningful because this is the first time that a Security Council open debate will focus on artificial intelligence as its main agenda. Since the Republic of Korea joined the United Nations in 1991, this is the third time that my country has taken on the role of a non-permanent member at the Security Council. The Republic of Korea, which has risen from the ashes of war with the help of the United Nations and simultaneously achieved democratization and economic prosperity, now seeks to fulfill its responsibility and play a consequential role for the peace and prosperity of mankind. I believe that today's open debate will be an opportunity for the Republic of Korea to display its leading role in creating a better world. The advances in AI technology has gone beyond changing our daily lives to drastically shifting the international security environment. 80 years ago, when the United Nations was
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to the press briefing by the President of the Republic of Korea, His Excellency Mr. Lee Jae-myung.
반갑습니다. 대한민국 대통령이 안보리 의장 자격으로 안보리 회의를 주재하는 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 특히 AI 관련해 전 유엔 회원국을 대상으로 열리는 첫 공개토의의 주제를 맡게 돼서 매우 의미 깊게 생각합니다. 1991년 유엔 가입 이래 대한민국 정부가 안보리 이사국을 맡은 건 이번이 세 번째입니다. 유엔의 도움으로 전쟁의 폐허를 딛고 민주화와 경제 번영을 동시에 달성한 우리 대한민국이 이제 인류의 평화와 공동 번영을 위해 막중한 역할과 책임을 다하고자 합니다. 오늘 회의 또한 대한민국이 더 나은 세계를 만드는 데 앞장서고 있음을 보여주는 중요한 계기가 될 것입니다. 오늘날 인공지능 기술의 발전은 우리의 일상을 변화시키는 것을 넘어 국제적인 안보 환경까지 급격하게 변화시키고 있습니다. 80년 전 출범한 유엔의 주요 관심사는 새롭게 등장한 핵무기의 위협을 국제사회가 어떻게 관리하느냐였습니다. 이제 인공지능이라는 새로운 위협과 도전에 걸맞는 새로운 거버넌스를 모색해야 될 때입니다. 대한민국은 인공지능이 가져온 기술 혁신이 국제 평화와 안보에 기여할 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 이끌어왔습니다. 이번 유엔 총회에서 AI와 국제 평화 안보를 주제로 공개토의를 제안한 이유도 많은 회원국들의 지혜를 모으고 공동의 대응 방안을 모색하기 위해서입니다. 평화, 안보, 그리고 인류를 위한 AI를 위해 심도 있는 논의가 이루어지기를 기대합니다. 감사합니다. 반갑습니다. 대한민국 대통령이 안보리 의장 자격으로 안보리 회의를 주재하는 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 특히 AI 관련해 전 유엔 회원국을 대상으로 열리는 첫 공개토의의 주제를 맡게 돼서 매우 의미 깊게 생각합니다. 1991년 유엔 가입 이래 대한민국 정부가 안보리 이사국을 맡은 건 이번이 세 번째입니다. 유엔의 도움으로 전쟁의 폐허를 딛고 민주화와 경제 번영을 동시에 달성한 우리 대한민국이 이제 인류의 평화와 공동 번영을 위해 막중한 역할과 책임을 다하고자 합니다. 오늘 회의 또한 대한민국이 더 나은 세계를 만드는 데 앞장서고 있음을 보여주는 중요한 계기가 될 것입니다. 오늘날 인공지능 기술의 발전은 우리의 일상을 변화시키는 것을 넘어 국제적인 안보 환경까지 급격하게 변화시키고 있습니다. 80년 전 출범한 유엔의 주요 관심사는 새롭게 등장한 핵무기의 위협을 국제사회가 어떻게 관리하느냐였습니다. 이제 인공지능이라는 새로운 위협과 도전에 걸맞는 새로운 거버넌스를 모색해야 될 때입니다. 대한민국은 인공지능이 가져온 기술 혁신이 국제 평화와 안보에 기여할 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 이끌어 왔습니다. 이번 유엔 총회에서 AI와 국제 평화 안보를 주제로 공개토의를 제안한 이유도 많은 회원국들의 지혜를 모으고 공동의 대응 방안을 모색하기 위해서입니다. 평화, 안보, 그리고 인류를 위한 AI를 위해 심도 있는 논의가 이루어지기를 기대합니다. 감사합니다. 네, 반갑습니다. 대한민국 대통령이 안보리 의장 자격으로 안보리 회의를 주재하는 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 특히 AI 관련해 전 유엔 회원국을 대상으로 열리는 첫 공개토의의 주제를 맡게 돼서 매우 의미 깊게 생각합니다. 1991년 유엔 가입 이래 대한민국 정부가 안보리 이사국을 맡은 건 이번이 세 번째입니다. 유엔의 도움으로 전쟁의 폐허를 딛고 민주화와 경제 번영을 동시에 달성한 우리 대한민국이 이제 인류의 평화와 공동 번영을 위해 막중한 역할과 책임을 다하고자 합니다. 오늘 회의 또한 대한민국이 더 나은 세계를 만드는 데 앞장서고 있음을 보여주는 중요한 계기가 될 것입니다. 오늘날 인공지능 기술의 발전은 우리의 일상을 변화시키는 것을 넘어 국제적인 안보 환경까지 급격하게 변화시키고 있습니다. 80년 전 출범한 유엔의 주요 관심사는 새롭게 등장한 핵무기의 위협을 국제사회가 어떻게 관리하느냐였습니다. 이제 인공지능이라는 새로운 위협과 도전에 걸맞는 새로운 거버넌스를 모색해야 될 때입니다. 대한민국은 인공지능이 가져온 기술 혁신이 국제 평화와 안보에 기여할 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 이끌어 왔습니다. 이번 유엔 총회에서 AI와 국제 평화 안보를 주제로 공개토의를 제안한 이유도 많은 회원국들의 지혜를 모으고 공동의 대응 방안을 모색하기 위해서입니다. 평화, 안보, 그리고 인류를 위한 AI를 위해 심도 있는 논의가 이루어지기를 기대합니다. 감사합니다. 네, 반갑습니다. 대한민국 대통령이 안보리 의장 자격으로 안보리 회의를 주재하는 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 특히 AI 관련해 전 유엔 회원국을 대상으로 열리는 첫 공개토의의 주제를 맡게 돼서 매우 의미 깊게 생각합니다. 1991년 유엔 가입 이래 대한민국 정부가 안보리 이사국을 맡은 건 이번이 세 번째입니다. 유엔의 도움으로 전쟁의 폐허를 딛고 민주화와 경제 번영을 동시에 달성한 우리 대한민국이 이제 인류의 평화와 공동 번영을 위해 막중한 역할과 책임을 다하고자 합니다. 오늘 회의 또한 대한민국이 더 나은 세계를 만드는 데 앞장서고 있음을 보여주는 중요한 계기가 될 것입니다. 오늘날 인공지능 기술의 발전은 우리의 일상을 변화시키는 것을 넘어 국제적인 안보 환경까지 급격하게 변화시키고 있습니다. 80년 전 출범한 유엔의 주요 관심사는 새롭게 등장한 핵무기의 위협을 국제사회가 어떻게 관리하느냐였습니다. 이제 인공지능이라는 새로운 위협과 도전에 걸맞는 새로운 거버넌스를 모색해야 될
의제는 국제평화와 안보 유지, AI와 국제평화 안보입니다. 네, 의제가 채택되었습니다. 안보리 회의장이 함께하신 유엔 사무총장님, 그리고 각국 대통령님, 총리님, 그리고 고위급 대표들을 환영합니다. 여러분께서 오늘 이 자리에 함께해 주신 것은 우리가 논의하는 이 주제의 중요성을 잘 보여준다고 하겠습니다. 여러분 앞에 안보리 잠정 의사규칙 제37항, 39항 그리고 안보리의 기존 관행에 따라 참석을 요청한 발언자 명단이 놓여 있습니다. 회의에 참석토록 초청할 것을 제안드립니다. 특별한 반대가 없으시므로 결정되었습니다. 안보리는 이제 두 번째 의제를 심의하겠습니다. 안보리 문서 S2025-593 관련 안보리 이사국들의 주의를 환기고자 합니다. 해당 문서는 2025년 9월 18일 주 유엔 대한민국 대사가 유엔 사무총장에게 보낸 서한으로 현재 심의 중인 의제에 관한 컨셉 페이퍼를 포함하고 있습니다. 이제 안토니우 구테레시 유엔 사무총장님의 브리핑을 듣겠습니다.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank the Republic of Korea for convening this high-level open debate at a decisive moment for global cooperation on artificial intelligence. AI is no longer a distant horizon. It is here, transforming daily life, the information space, and the global economy at breathtaking speed. The question is not whether AI will influence international peace and security, but how we will shape that influence. Used responsibly, AI can strengthen prevention and protection, anticipating food insecurity and displacement, supporting demining, helping identify potential outbreaks of violence, and so much more. But without guardrails, it can also be weaponized. Recent conflicts have become testing grounds for AI-powered targeting and autonomy. AI-enabled cyber attacks can disrupt or destroy critical infrastructure in minutes. The ability to fabricate and manipulate audio and video threatens information integrity, fuels polarization, and can trigger diplomatic crises. And the massive energy and water demands of large-scale models, coupled with competition over critical minerals, are creating new drivers of tension. Excellencies, innovation must serve humanity, not undermine it. Last month, the General Assembly established an independent international scientific panel on artificial intelligence and an annual global dialogue on AI governance. This is a recognition of the unique convening power of the UN. Together, these initiatives aim to connect science, policy, and practice, provide every country a seat at the table, and reduce fragmentation. They represent practical tools to make AI safer, more inclusive, and more accountable. I will soon launch an open call for nominations for the scientific panel. I urge all member states to nominate eminent, diverse experts and support the panel's expertise, independence, and regional balance with the resources needed for timely, science-based assessments. I also call on governments and stakeholders to engage fully in the global dialogue and to shape inclusive, human rights-based global norms. Excellencies, Today, I wish to focus on 4 priorities. First, we must ensure human control over the use of force. Let us be clear, humanity's fate cannot be left to an algorithm. Humans must always retain authority over life and death decisions. The Council and Member States must ensure that military use of AI remains in full compliance with international law and the Charter, and human control and judgment must be preserved in every use of force. I reiterate my call for a ban on lethal autonomous weapon systems operating without human control, with a view to concluding a legally binding instrument by next year. And until nuclear weapons are eliminated, any decision on their use must rest with humans, not machines. Second, we must build coherent global regulatory frameworks. From design to deployment to decommissioning, AI systems must always comply with international law. Military uses must be clearly regulated through legal reviews, human accountability, and strong safeguards against misuse. We need greater transparency, confidence building, and cooperation to reduce risks, especially in conflict zones. AI must never lower barriers to acquiring or using prohibited weapons or undermine disarmament obligations. I welcome the Responsible Artificial Intelligence and the Military Domain Initiative and commend your leadership in these efforts. Last December, the General Assembly adopted a resolution on AI in the military domain and its implications for international peace and security. Building on that, I presented a report to the General Assembly recommending states to take concrete steps to initiate a dedicated and inclusive process to address this issue. I urge Member States to take this forward. Third, we must protect information integrity in situations of conflict and insecurity. The UN Global Principles for Information Integrity provide a foundation for coordinated action. Governments, platforms, media and civil society must cooperate to detect and deter AI-generated deception, from disinformation campaigns to deepfakes targeting peace processes, humanitarian access, and elections. We need transparency in the entire AI life cycle. Rapid and verified attribution of information sources and their dissemination, and systematic safeguards to prevent AI systems from spreading disinformation and igniting violence. Excellence. Quatrièmement, enfin, nous devons combler les écarts de capacité en matière d'intelligence artificielle. La technologie peut être un moteur de développement durable, de stabilité et de paix. Nous devons permettre à toutes les nations de contribuer à façonner l'avenir de l'intelligence artificielle. Cela demande d'investir dans le renforcement des capacités, de soutenir le développement des talents, de mettre en place des infrastructures publiques sûres et fiables, de promouvoir la diversité des données pour réduire les biais et de garantir un accès équitable aux outils d'intelligence artificielle, à la puissance de calcul et à la formation. Le mois dernier, j'ai présenté un rapport proposant des options de financement volontaires et innovantes pour soutenir la montée en capacité de IA dans les pays en développement. Je vous exhorte à soutenir ces efforts. Excellences, qu'il s'agisse du contrôle des armements nucléaires ou de la sécurité aérienne, la communauté internationale a su relever le défi des technologies susceptibles de déstabiliser nos sociétés en établissant des règles, en créant des institutions et en plaçant la dignité humaine au premier plan. La fenêtre d'opportunité pour façonner l'IA au service de la paix, de la justice et de l'humanité est en train de se refermer. Nous devons agir sans tarder et je vous remercie.
네, 우리 사무총장님 브리핑 감사합니다. 이제 요수아 벤지오 몬트리올 대학 교수님의 브리핑을 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President of the Republic of Korea, Your Excellency Lee Jae-myung. Thanks for offering me the opportunity to speak with the Security Council today. We start with a bit of looking backwards. In recent years, we've seen the trajectory of AI going towards greater and greater capabilities. And it is being particularly surprising even for experts in the field, including myself. The scientific data is very clear. The ability of AI to solve tasks and to perform like humans and have agency have been advancing rapidly. Many researchers are concerned that as companies are starting to use AI to advance AI research, this could even accelerate. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, and nobody knows what the future advances are going to be and how fast they will go, but we can look at the past trends, and if these trends continue, some AIs could surpass most humans across most cognitive tasks in as little as 5 years, maybe 10 years. This would be a radical change in the history of mankind. Trillions of dollars are being invested to develop AI further and further, and we're now seeing how quickly this technology is evolving, fundamentally transforming our economies and our societies, including the military. Yet, scientists still do not know how to design AIs that will not harm people, that will always act according to our instructions, that will comply with human rights and human dignity. We don't know how to do that. In a recent study that just came out, OpenAI concluded that AI hallucinations are unavoidable with currently known designs. If we don't learn how to build trustworthy AI, humans are under threat from AI misuse by bad actors or through the misalignment of AI systems with societal norms and laws. Advances in AI will offer ways to tackle some of society's biggest challenges, yet they will also introduce major risks to international peace and security. Frontier AI systems will be extremely powerful if things continue according to the current trends. And misuse or careless use of this power by any individual, country, or company could create widespread disruption. I am currently chairing the International AI Safety Report, an international mandate following a resolution made by 30 countries, the EU, the OECD, and the UN. It is the first of its kind international report to set out an up-to-date, science-based understanding of the safety of advanced AI systems. It's being developed by more than 100 AI independent experts, and it's intended to provide a base of scientific evidence to inform policy. It identifies areas of scientific consensus as well as areas where there are different views or gaps in the current scientific understanding. I want to touch briefly today on the 3 risks outlined in the report that are particularly relevant to today's discussion. First, market and power concentration. AI models, which might be soon more capable or as capable as humans, could provide a strategic advantage on a global scale. This power could be used to create new powerful technologies and tip the balance in favor of a few companies, countries, or individuals, potentially enabling a disproportionate economic, political, or military concentration of power. Second, risks from malicious use. AI could also be used by malicious actors by lowering barriers to chemical and biological weapons development, facilitating cyber attacks, this is already happening, or helping design sophisticated persuasion and disinformation campaigns. And we see already AI capabilities in this respect improving fast. Third, the risk of misalignment, and at its extreme, the loss of human control to advanced AI. Again, we don't know currently how to reliably align and control the most advanced AIs, the ones that already exist. When they become more capable, this could have incredible consequences. Right now, this already causes serious issues, as we've seen with recent tragic incidents, for example, involving chatbots that are contributing to endangering individuals experiencing mental health crisis or making it easier to create deepfakes that could be very consequential for individuals as well as societies. If the capabilities of AI models continue to increase and eventually beyond human levels without scientific guarantees that they are safe and aligned with our intentions, I believe we could reach a point where AI could operate irreversibly outside of anyone's control, putting humanity as a whole at risk. We need to plan for these possibilities, even if their probability is small. We must be careful to not cede our collective human and national sovereignty to companies or the models they deploy, so that we can take the right and wise decisions as we move forward. We must act now to mitigate all of these risks together. This is not a problem confined to a single nation's border, but one that threatens all of us. We must mobilize our best minds and make substantial investments to innovate on both fronts of science and governance. On the science and technical side, we need to significantly increase global research endeavors focused on safe and trustworthy AI. I've recently launched my own project called Law Zero, a nonprofit to work on scientist AI, which tries to build AI so that it will be safe by design and provide a guardrail that checks that other AIs will satisfy our safety specifications, will behave according to our instructions. But we need many more such projects. If we want to build effective global agreements on AI use, it is not sufficient to make these kinds of technical progress. We also need technical advances on verification technology, just like we did for nuclear. Because countries may not trust each other, so if we want to have agreements, they need to be verifiable. And work is currently going on both on the software side and the hardware side to allow us to build trust with international partners. On this subject, I'd like to refer you to the UN brief from the Scientific Advisory Board of the Secretary General on this topic. So this was on the technical side. On the governance side, earlier this week, with 200 people, 200 experts, including former heads of state and Nobel laureates and recipients, we came together to support the establishment of international red lines to prevent unacceptable AI risks. Governments must have substantial visibility and control over these technological advances instead of letting very important decisions being taken behind closed doors. Transparency is the most important element that will increase public protection and the global interests. In addition, we need to innovate beyond the existing mechanisms of accountability and multilateral governance surrounding AI to make sure we achieve the three following goals. First, AI is developed safely by everyone on this planet. Second, AI is not abused to gain an unfair advantage over other nations or competitors. And three, we need to make sure that the benefits of AI are shared globally, for example, advances in medicine or the environment. If we develop and manage AI safely, it does offer extraordinary opportunities to improve human life and enhance our collective security, as we'll have the opportunity to discuss today. I'd like to end this with a few concluding thoughts that I have taken from the International AI Safety Report, stating the following. First, the future of general purpose AI, the most advanced or frontier AI, is uncertain. Many scenarios are possible. Second, both very positive and very negative outcomes are possible, which means we need to prepare for all the plausible scenarios, the positive ones and the negative ones. And much depends on how our societies and governments will act. AI does not happen to us. We, and particularly you, as decision makers, have the power to shape its trajectory so that it benefits the world. Thank you again for this opportunity. I look forward to discussing this important topic with you today. Thank you.
네, 우리 벤지오 교수님 브리핑 잘 들었습니다. 고맙습니다. 이제 최예진 스탠포드 대학의 인간 중심의 인공지능 연구소 교수님의 브리핑을 들어보겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President and the Secretary General and distinguished members of the Security Council. It is such a privilege to join you today. As someone who grew up in South Korea and has devoted my career to advancing artificial intelligence, it is deeply meaningful to contribute to this very dialogue under the presidency of the Republic of Korea and at such a pivotal moment of global importance. I have spent more than 2 decades as a computer scientist, seeking to understand how machines might interpret the world in ways more like us humans do. My work asks whether intelligence can be built in forms that are not just powerful, but genuinely reflective of humanity. We stand today at an extraordinary inflection point. AI dazzles us with achievements that only years ago seemed impossible. In particular, I am deeply motivated by how AI is accelerating scientific discovery, from advancing medicine to exploring the natural world, to expand the horizons of human knowledge. But this promise is accompanied by scientific limits and societal choices. Today, I want to talk about one of those choices: choosing intelligence that is not only powerful, but accessible, robust, and efficient. Because when only a few have the resources to build and benefit from AI, we really leave the rest of the world waiting at the door. So my message to you today is simple. Let us expand what intelligence can be, and let everyone, everywhere, have a role in building it. The new need for new scientific frontiers. Scientific history shows us that breakthroughs rarely come from staying in the same lane. At critical moments, new methods and new ways of thinking open entire fields. In AI, however, much of the energy and the investment has converged on one model of progress, which is scaling. In recent years, developers have sought to build AI systems using ever larger data sets and computing power. This approach has delivered impressive results, while also leading to a reality where the most advanced models are built by a mere handful of companies in just a few countries. This concentration in the hands of a few really narrows both our science and who gets to shape it. When most of the world lacks the resources to experiment at the frontier, we lose a diversity of perspectives from researchers, institutions, and societies that could lead to important discoveries and pivots. The task before us, then, is to expand the frontier, to cultivate space for alternative approaches, to encourage curiosity-driven science, and to support bold exploration. Science has historically leapt forward when we have taken risks and opened the door for more voices to contribute to discovery. We can and must pursue alternative approaches to AI development that are more adaptive, more resilient, and broadly accessible to the global community. Striving for global access and representation in AI. Okay, so what might those alternatives paths mean in practice? Expanding the frontier is not only about new scientific methods for achieving intelligence. It is also about how we choose to think about access. Who can build advanced AI systems? To whom are they accessible? Whose voices do they include? And whose values do they reflect? If AI is to truly benefit humanity, global access must be the North Star. That means pushing the frontier along two dimensions. The first dimension is to build AI that is smaller. If we really want to democratize AI, we must rethink how our dependence on massive scale data and computing resources from the outset, and design methods that can do more with less. For example, systems that can learn with far less data, adapt through interaction, and recognize what they do not know. Children gain common sense not by reading endless words on the internet, but by observing the world around them. How can we design AI systems that learn in the same spirit? Models that achieve strong performance while lowering the barriers to entry would open the frontiers to researchers, institutions, and governments worldwide. The second dimension is to ensuring AI systems represent and serve all communities. We should recenter what truly matters to humanity: linguistic diversity, cultural breadth, and pluralistic values. Today's leading AI models underperform for many non-English languages and reflect narrow cultural assumptions. These flaws lead to the systematic exclusion of entire communities from AI's benefits, and they cannot be cured simply by patching gaps after the fact. What's required is to rethink the foundations, the training data, learning objectives, and evaluation methods, so that systems are built from the start to be robust across languages, context, and perspectives. Accomplishing this will rest on answers to open research questions across disciplines. What does meaningful linguistic fluency in AI look like? How do we measure value alignment across societies? Who must be at the table when decisions are made? These are only some of the questions we must address through interdisciplinary, cross-cultural collaboration. Every country and community has unique expertise to contribute, expertise that is indispensable when building AI systems that truly serve the world. So here's a call for bold and collective investment. I want to leave you today with 3 considerations for how all of us can begin to make inroads on these issues. First, invest in high-risk, high-reward science. Because market-driven forces tend to favor short-term, profit-driven research and development, governments and international bodies must fund bold experiments that look uncertain today, but promise to open new frontiers tomorrow. Second, build shared public AI infrastructure. We need open, multilingual, and multimodal datasets rigorous benchmarks that test for cultural pluralism and real-world applications, and shared compute resources for academic institutions and nations otherwise left out. These are not just nice to haves. These are essential foundations to expand the talent and ideas that drive discovery. Third, prioritize capacity building, fellowships and exchanges that connect researchers across borders, advanced training programs that equip the next generation with cutting-edge skills, and collaborative institutes that sustain long-term partnerships are all crucial. Innovation can emerge from many paths, and the next breakthrough may come from where we least expected it. There's still so much we can and must do to achieve more global access and representation in AI. Progress on these fronts will not be easy. It demands our willingness to take paths less traveled and to set aside narrow competition in favor of collaborating for the common good. Thank you again, Mr. President, and the Secretary General and distinguished members of the Security Council for the privilege of speaking to you today.
네, 최혜진 교수님 수고하셨습니다. 브리핑 잘 들었습니다. 이제 대한민국 대통령으로서 발언을 잠시 하도록 하겠습니다. 구테레시 사무총장님, 그리고 여수와 벤지오 교수님, 최혜진 교수님 세 분의 깊은 통찰이 담긴 말씀에 감사드립니다. 세 분 말씀을 듣다 보니 현재 AI는 새끼 호랑이와 같다라고 하던 제프리 힌튼 교수의 말이 떠올랐습니다. 우리 앞에 새끼 호랑이는 우리를 잡아먹을 사나운 맹수가 될 수도 있고 K-팝 데몬 헌터스에 나오는 사랑스러운 더피가 될 수도 있습니다. 똑같은 칼도 요리사에게는 다른 사람을 행복하게 만들 훌륭한 도구지만 강도에게는 그저 남을 해치는 위협적인 무기입니다. 특히 AI는 지식과 정보 처리 전 과정에서 가장 파괴적 혁신을 가져올 발명품이고 심지어 스스로 인간처럼 판단과 결정까지 내릴 수도 있습니다. 따라서 우리가 AI라는 도구를 어떻게 다룰 것인지에 따라서 우리 앞에는 전혀 다른 미래가 펼쳐지게 됩니다. AI를 잘 활용한다면 저성장, 고물가 같은 난제를 해결해서 새로운 번영의 길을 열어내고 의료, 식량, 교육 등 여러 문제에 해답을 줄 수도 있습니다. 그러나 변화에 대비하지 못한 채 끌려간다면 극심한 기술 격차가 철의 장막을 능가하는 실리콘 장막으로 작동해서 전 세계적인 불평등과 불균형을 심화시킬 것입니다. 명과 암이 공존하는 AI 시대의 변화를 기회로 만들 방법은 국제사회가 단합해서 책임 있는 이용의 원칙을 바로 세우는 것뿐입니다. 만일 많은 전문가의 경고대로 인공지능이 인류를 위협하고 멸종시킨다면 아마도 그 이유는 우리가 이 거대한 변화에 걸맞는 인류 공통의 규범을 만들어내지 못했기 때문일 것입니다. 인공지능 기술력이 곧 국력이자 경제력이자 안보 역량인 시대, 과거 러다이트 운동처럼 기술 발전을 역행시키는 일은 가능하지도 않고 현실적이지도 않습니다. 유일하고도 현명한 대처는 국익을 위해서 경쟁하되 모두의 이익을 위해 협력하는 것입니다. 각국 정부와 학계, 산업계, 시민사회가 머리를 맞대고 지혜를 모아야 모두를 위한 AI, 인간 중심의 포용적 AI로의 혁신을 이뤄낼 수 있습니다. 특히 안보리의 역할과 책임이 더욱 막중해졌습니다. 수많은 사람의 삶과 생명이 달린 국제 평화와 안보 분야에서 인공지능이 무궁무진한 잠재력과 가능성 그리고 동시에 위험성을 내포하고 있기 때문입니다. 정보, 정찰부터 군수, 기획까지 군사 분야 전반에서 정확성과 정밀성을 높이고 작전의 효율성과 지휘체계의 혁신을 주도하고 있습니다. AI를 잘만 활용하면 대량 살상 무기 확산을 감시하는 등 분쟁을 예방하고 평화를 유지하는 훌륭한 도구가 될 수도 있습니다. 우리가 보낸 인도적 지원이 적재적소에 신속하게 도달하도록 만들어 국제 평화와 안보를 튼튼히 하는 일에 기여할 수 있습니다. 그러나 이 무시무시한 도구가 통제력을 상실한다면 허위 정보가 넘쳐나고 테러, 사이버 공격이 급증하는 디스토피아의 미래를 피할 수 없을 것입니다. 인공지능발 군비 경쟁으로 안보 불안은 더욱 커질지 모릅니다. 안보리는 그간 테러리즘, 사이버 공격, 팬데믹 같은 진화하는 위협에 적극 대처하며 국제사회의 방향과 비전을 제시해 왔습니다. 이제 인공지능 시대에 변화한 안보 환경을 분석하고 공동의 대응 방안을 찾아내야 합니다. 대한민국은 글로벌 책임 강국으로서 AI가 인류의 지속 가능한 미래를 만드는 훌륭한 도구가 될 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 주도하는 길에 앞장설 것입니다. 대한민국은 이미 지난해 네덜란드와 함께 유엔 총회 최초로 군사 분야 AI 결의안을 상정하고 AI의 책임 있는 군사적 이용에 관한 고위급 회의를 개최했습니다. 그 외에도 유엔 평화유지군의 허위정보 대응 역량 강화를 지원하였고 인권이사회 이사국으로서 신기술과 인권에 관한 결의를 주도했습니다. 지난해 5월 AI 서울 정상회의에서 서울선언을 채택하여 안전, 혁신, 포용의 3대 비전을 제시하기도 했고 APEC 의장국으로서 인공지능의 혁신이 인류 번영에 기여할 수 있도록 APEC AI 이니셔티브 채택을 추진하고 있기도 합니다. 이런 과정을 통해 무엇보다 기술 발전의 혜택을 함께 누리는 AI 기본사회, 모두의 AI가 새로운 시대의 뉴 노멀이 될 수 있도록 더욱 노력하고 있습니다. 각국 대표 여러분, AI가 불러올 문명사적 대전환 앞에서 인류는 오랜 역사 동안 함께 지켜온 보편 가치를 지켜내야 할 중요한 변곡점을 지나고 있습니다. 인류 문명은 늘 도전에 맞서 응전해왔고 어떤 절망을 마주해도 더 나은 세계를 향해 나아가겠다는 희망을 잃지 않았기에 지금의 진보를 만들어낼 수 있었습니다. 위기 속에서도 언제나 세계 평화와 공동 번영의 길을 찾아온 유엔의 빛나는 역사에 그 답이 있습니다. 우리 앞에 주어진 새로운 시대적 사명을 마다하지 맙시다. AI가 가져올 변화를 인류가 재도약할 발판으로 만들어냅시다. 경청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 이제 다시 또 안보리 의장으로서의 역할을 시작하겠습니다. 하산 세이크 모하무드 소말리아 대통령님의 발언을 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President. Allow me to begin by expressing our appreciation to the Republic of Korea for convening in this important debate and for its leadership in building a shared vision on artificial intelligence's role in international peace and security. We are also grateful to the Secretary General for his insight, remarks, and to all the briefers for their contribution to this discussion. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant prospect. It is already rapidly transforming societies, economies, and our approach to peace and security as well. It brings both remarkable promise and profound risk, as experts presented here. With responsible governance, its ability to revolutionize early warning, crisis prevention, and humanitarian response is undeniable.
Yet, as its capabilities spread, often unevenly, the risk of misuse grows, potentially creating new avenues for instability. Therefore, it's our collective responsibility to ensure AI advances international peace and security and to guide its use for the benefit of all. To this end, I would like to propose the following three core priorities. First, we must establish clear global standards for the responsible use of AI. AI must operate within a framework of international law and respect for human rights and human dignity. The Security Council should champion efforts to develop comprehensive guidelines that ensure AI is used ethically and transparently across all peacekeeping and security operations globally. These standards should address issues such as algorithm bias, privacy, and the protection of vulnerable groups. Establishing these principles will require the active participation of all member states and regional organizations, ensuring that diverse perspectives are reflected and that frameworks are adaptable to different contexts. Second, we must ensure equitable access to AI and prevent new forms of technological dependency syndrome. The benefits of AI must not be confined to a privileged few or concentrated in certain regions. Too often, technological advancements and control over data are held outside the communities most affected, perpetuating imbalances in power and opportunities. This risk of digital colonialism, particularly in Africa, can only be addressed through international partnership with regional organizations such as the African Union and by supporting strategies like Africa's Pan-African AI Initiative, which prioritize data sovereignty, digital literacy, and homegrown innovations. It's essential to promote inclusive access and support regional leadership to help ensure AI is a tool for collective advancement rather than a source of further division. Third, we must proactively address the unique risk AI poses to peace and security and the livelihoods of the societies. AI's misuse, whether through autonomous weapons, disinformation campaigns, or interferences in fragile peace processes, poses significant threat to stability. These risks demand constant vigilance and proactive measures. The Security Council should support regular monitoring and assessment of emerging AI threats, facilitate the sharing of best practices, and invest in early warning systems. Close collaboration with civil society and regional actors is essential, as local knowledge and networks can help identify signs of destabilization before they escalate. Moreover, the Council should encourage the development of accountability mechanisms to ensure that those who misuse AI are held responsible and accountable. In conclusion, Mr. President, the era of artificial intelligence is not a distant prospect but our current reality. The future we shape with these tools depends on our commitment to cooperation, ethical leadership, and global solidarity. We are presented with a defining opportunity to guide this historic transition responsibly so that technological progress serves as a bridge to peace and shared prosperity, not an instrument of division. The power of artificial intelligence is not inevitable in its outcome, It is shaped, guided, and given meaning by our values and our choices. Somalia is committed to acting with foresight and resolve together so that future generations will look back on this moment. We must unite as nations to guide technological progress for the good of all while protecting peace, upholding dignity, and broadening the horizons of human possibility. I thank you.
네, 모하무드 대통령님 발언 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 다음엔 나타샤 피르츠 무사르 슬로베니아 대통령님의 발언을 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President, and let me begin by extending our gratitude to the Republic of Korea for convening today's open debate. I would also like to welcome and thank the Secretary General, as well as Mr. Bengio and Mrs. Choi. Mr. President, in my previous life, I was a lawyer dealing with human rights. Especially, I was connected to data protection, so heavily involved in the development of modern technologies, and this is why this topic is very, very close to my heart. And I've learned something regarding artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is neither artificial nor intelligent. It's not artificial because it only possesses the knowledge that we gained through the centuries. And it's not intelligent because it hallucinates all the time. And if artificial intelligence is going to hallucinate in automotive weapons connected to AI, then nothing good will happen at the end. Mr. President, since my last visit to the Security Council 2 years ago, the world has witnessed the growing digitalizations of warfare. Contemporary conflicts from Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine have become testing grounds for the military use of new technologies. Soldiers on the ground can commit terrible acts against others. Some may develop a guilty conscience over the years. Some former combatants even apologize to those they harmed. Algorithms, armed drones, and robots created by humans, however, have no conscience. We cannot appeal to their mercy or beg them to spare their loved ones. This is the world in which technology is increasingly determining humanity's fate. One must agree with the Secretary General that artificial intelligence represents both an existential threat and one of the greatest opportunities of our generation. One might even add that AI can also pose a risk to our daily lives. As with many things, excess never does any good. Just as an excessive use of social media can create dependency, excessive reliance on AI calls into question of our own intellect, our capacity to think, and our ability to make independent decisions. It is like our muscles. If we don't exercise them regularly, they atrophy. On the other hand, there are countless tasks that AI can perform more accurately and efficiently. Its solutions are based on quantities of data far beyond human capacity to process. In supporting UN peace operations, AI can assist with multilingual translation, summarizing field reports, planning routes and optimizing logistics, as well as consolidating overlapping or fragmented information into a coherent picture. For conflict prevention, AI can be harnessed positively to identify food insecurity and predict displacement caused by extreme events and climate change. Mr. President, we acknowledge and welcome the important discussions taking place within the United Nations on the use of lethal autonomous weapon systems and on AI in the military domain. We thank the Republic of Korea for its leadership on the latter. As an expert has warned, the three biggest risks involved in the development of AI-powered weapons are, first, these weapons may make it easier for countries to become involved in conflicts. Second, Non-military scientific AI research may be censored or co-opted to support the development of such weapons. And third, militaries may use AI-powered autonomous technology to reduce or deflect human responsibility in decision-making. From the perspective of the UN, the cornerstone of the system of collective security, AI has already become a reality with a visible impact not only on peace and security, but also on its other two pillars, human rights and development. It has not only entered the battlefield. The AI can be misused in so many ways. Through AI-accelerated cyber attacks, its proliferation in terrorism and organized crime, or its environmental impact. This further exacerbates threats to international peace and security. Therefore, Mr. President, this debate is timely. The far-reaching impact on AI on international peace and security, by its very nature, requires action by the Security Council, which bears the primary responsibility under the UN Charter for the maintenance of international peace and security. The Security Council must be prepared to respond to the impact of AI on global peace. I trust that today's meeting is just one of many activities in the Security Council and the United Nations system to discuss the presence of AI in international relations. To this end, Slovenia calls for regular briefings by the Secretary General to the Security Council on developments in the field of artificial intelligence that affect international peace and security, so that the relevant risks can be recognized, understood, and, above all, addressed. We further call for the inclusion of discussions on AI-related risks on the Security Council agenda to ensure the protection of civilians, humanitarian aid and UN personnel, as well as the effective implementation of mandates for peace operations. We are also willing to consider concrete actions by the Security Council, including recognizing that decision-making on AI must be guided by international law, in particular international humanitarian law and international human rights law, as well as ethical principles to ensure its responsible use in maintaining and promoting international peace and security. To conclude, Mr. President, while we address the risks of AI, it is crucial to remember that behind every algorithm and every automated decision stands a human being who wrote the code. This simple fact underscores the central principles of human responsibility and accountability, principles that must remain at the heart of both our national approaches and our multilateral efforts. And just to say one more sentence, Professor said that transparency is of significant importance. Without transparency of algorithms, the supervisions of AI systems is not going to be possible. And you mentioned, Professor, also the trust among countries. We are facing the lack of trust today, not only in politics, in business, and also in modern digital world. The lack of trust is an obstacle. And if it's going to be an obstacle, at the end, the lack of trust and obstacles are going to be so big that we will all lose. So let this be my final word, and thank you for inviting me here to the Security Council, and I wish you all the best in the future work, Mr. President. Thank you.
네, 대통령님 말씀을 너무 잘 들었습니다. 이번에는 키리아코스 미초타키스 그리스 총리님의 발언을 들어보겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to begin by congratulating the Republic of Korea for convening this important meeting of the Security Council on artificial intelligence and international peace and security. Also thank the two professors for their very insightful introductory remarks. Today's debate builds on the area formula meeting that Greece co-organized last April with France, with the Republic of Korea, offering us the opportunity to further reflect on a topic that will undoubtedly shape our discussions for years to come. There is now, I think, a broad consensus on the close interplay between artificial intelligence and the maintenance of international peace and security. And the two RE-AIM summits in The Hague in 2023, in Seoul in 2024, the political declaration on responsible military use of artificial intelligence and autonomy launched by the United States, and the AI Action Summit in Paris earlier this year have all contributed to developing norms, rules, and guidelines for the responsible development, deployment, and use of AI, including, of course, in the very sensitive military domain. AI is not just another tool, it's a general purpose capability with the potential to both empower and destabilize. In the right hands, it can strengthen peacekeeping, it can improve early warning systems, it can accelerate humanitarian relief, just to offer a few examples. In the wrong hands, it can fuel disinformation, it can amplify cyber attacks, it can certainly lower the threshold for escalation and conflict. AI is by nature a dual-use technology, and it means that our collective security increasingly depends on the choices we make. Mr. President, our discussion today is particularly timely as it comes just weeks after the release of the Secretary General's first report on artificial intelligence in the military domain and its implications for international peace and security. This was, I think, a milestone in our collective effort to address the profound implications of AI on peace and security. And building on this crucial momentum, we must recognize a fundamental truth that for our rules-based international order to remain relevant, it must adapt. Just as past institutions, generations build new institutions to govern nuclear energy, but also nuclear weapons and arms control, so too we now must develop new mechanisms to ensure that AI innovation reinforces not just peace and security, but also human dignity. And this, of course, requires international cooperation, transparency, and a renewed commitment to the principles of the UN Charter. At the same time, we must be candid. Preserving peace does not mean ignoring the realities of power. Malign actors are racing ahead in developing AI capabilities. And if we are to protect our citizens, uphold deterrence, and maintain stability, we too must responsibly invest in defensive security applications of AI, but always in line with international law and always with a commitment to human oversight. So this is not a call for a new arms race, but a recognition that peace is hard-won. It's harder to safeguard and hardest of all to preserve. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at an inflection point. The choices we make on artificial intelligence will not only redefine the balance of power, but also determine whether technology becomes a force for human progress or a drive of human peril. And the Security Council itself must rise to the occasion, just as it once rose to meet the challenges of nuclear weapons, the challenges of peacekeeping, so too now it must rise to govern the age of AI. And Greece believes the United Nations carries a historic responsibility to charter a path where innovation strengthens peace, where responsibility tempers power, and where technology serves humanity's highest aspirations. And let's make sure that artificial intelligence becomes not a source of rivalry and division, but a cornerstone of a more secure, more just, and more peaceful world. Thank you.
네, 미쇼타키스 총리님의 발언 핵심적인 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 다음에는 데이비드 라미 영국 부총리님의 발언을 들어보겠습니다.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the leadership of the Republic of Korea. Friends, colleagues, there is an urgency to this debate. It was 2 years ago that the United Kingdom first brought artificial intelligence to this council. And since that time, its capabilities have grown exponentially. This is a lightning strike of change. Every one of us, diplomat, peace builder, terrorist, now carries superhuman expertise in our smartphones, better at maths, better at translation, better at diagnosis than almost any human expert. And now superintelligence is on the horizon, able to operate, coordinate and act on our behalf. We're staring at a technological frontier of astounding promise and power. No aspect of life, war or peace, will escape. Deep AI analysis of situational data holds this promise for peacekeeping. Ultra-accurate real-time logistics, ultra-accurate real-time sentiment analysis, ultra-early warning systems. But there are also these challenges for armed conflict, ultra-novel chemical and biological weapons, ultra-accessible to malign actors, and ultra-rampant distortion and disinformation. And of course, this is what is at stake for our shared security. The risk of miscalculation, the risk of unintended escalation, and the arrival of artificial intelligence-powered chatbots stirring conflict. The risk of deeper instability is immense. And this is why I so welcome the Secretary-General's report on military AI. This is an opportunity for collective understanding, for us to build new safeguards and guardrails, and reaffirm international law as the bedrock of responsible use. We all know that artificial intelligence use is growing, of course, exponentially, offering us both extraordinary promise and intense challenges. Nowhere is this clearer than in climate. On current trends, artificial intelligence could add the equivalent of a new Japan to world electricity consumption. Yet it also promises to utterly transform efficiency and power our green transitions, fine-tuning electrical production to the minute to meet demand and eliminating astonishing levels of waste. This is the power of AI. We are crossing humanity's most profound technological frontier. Our lives, our world, our politics are about to be flooded with super powerful AI. There is only one way forward: resilience. Learning how to use these tools and embedding them safely in society. This is the United Kingdom's mission through our AI Security Institute, with more dedicated researchers than anywhere else in the world, and through the International AI Safety Report, with its secretariat based in the UK. Under the chairmanship of Yusho Bengio, one of our briefers today, the United Kingdom is committed to using AI responsibly, safely, legally and ethically, and together here at the United Nations. We must ensure AI strengthens peace and security. I believe that it can, and if we act together, we can get there. Thank you very much.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Lamy for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Attaf, Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad, and African Affairs of Algeria.
شكرا السيد الرئيس. خالص الامتنان لكم على تنظيم جلسة النقاش هاته، وبالغ الشكر للسيد الأمين العام وللخبراء الموقرين الحاضرين معنا اليوم على عروضهم القيمة حول موضوع الذكاء الاصطناعي وتأثيره على السلم والأمن الدوليين. إن الجزائر لتثمن انعقاد هذه الجلسة بما تجسده من تنامي الوعي الدولي بأهمية هذه التكنولوجيا الحديثة كعامل مؤثر ذي أبعاد متعددة ومتشعبة في ذات الحين. فالذكاء الاصطناعي لم يعد مجرد وسيلة تقنية، بل أصبح عاملا جيوستراتيجيا حاسما في مسار إعادة تشكيل موازين القوى على الساحة الدولية. والذكاء الاصطناعي لم يعد مجرد مشروع واعد للإنسانية، بل أضحى يطرح العديد من التحديات القانونية والأخلاقية، بل وحتى الأمنية التي تمس بسيادة الدول وتماسك مجتمعاتها. والذكاء الاصطناعي أصبح دون أي شك سلاحا ذا حدين في ميدان السلم والأمن، سلاح بناء يسهم في بناء القدرات وتعزيز التنمية المستدامة، وسلاح هدام لما يساء استخدامه لزعزعة الاستقرار وتقويض السلم وتهديد الأمن الجماعي. من هذا المنظور فإن نجاح الحوار العالمي الذي تم إطلاقه بشأن حوكمة الذكاء الاصطناعي لا يمكن أن يحقق المقاصد النبيلة المتوخاة من دون التكفل بالشواغل الثلاث الآتية. أولا، الشاغل السيادي، والذي يرتبط تمام الارتباط بضرورة التقيد بمبادئ ميثاق الأمم المتحدة حفاظا على سيادة الدول وحرمة أراضيها. وإننا نعتقد أن اتفاقية الأمم المتحدة لمكافحة الجرائم السبرانية، والتي قادت بلادي مسار المفاوضات بشأنها، يمكن أن تشكل أساسا قانونيا لتعزيز سيادة الدول على بياناتها وحماياتها من الهجمات السبرانية. ثانيا، الشاغل الأمني، والمتمثل في حتمية وضع قواعد واضحة تؤطر استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي في المجالات العسكرية والأمنية للحد من سباق التسلح الجديد الذي لا يتقيد بأي ضوابط، ولإبقاء الأسلحة المبتكرة بعيدا عن متناول الفواعل المسلحة غير الحكومية، وكذا لحصر قرار استخدام القوة المميتة بيد الإنسان في أي ابتكارات تعتمد على تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي. أما الشاغل الثالث والأخير فهو شاغل تنموي بامتياز، وهو يرتبط بحتمية ضمان تكافؤ الفرص بين الدول في الوصول إلى تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي، بما يحول دون تعميق الفجوة الرقمية والتنموية بين الشمال والجنوب. فالأكيد والمؤكد أن الدول النامية تواجه تحديات جسام في اللحاق بركب الثورة الرقمية الراهنة. وحين يتعلق الأمر بقارتنا الإفريقية، فإن هذه التحديات تتجلى في ثلاث معطيات رئيسية. المعطى الأول وهو أن نسبة تغطية شبكة الإنترنت في القارة تظل دون المستوى المطلوب، حيث لا تتعدى 38%، في حين أن المتوسط العالمي يتجاوز نسبة 68%. المعطى الثاني وهو أن عدد الدول التي حققت المستوى التنظيمي المطلوب في مجال تكنولوجيا المعلومات لا يتجاوز 10 دول في إفريقيا من مجموع 55 دولة عضو في الاتحاد الإفريقي، وهو الأمر الذي يعكس هشاشة الأطر التشريعية والتنظيمية في معظم البلدان الإفريقية. أما المعطى الثالث والأخير فيتمثل في كون القارة الإفريقية التي تضم 18% من سكان المعمورة لا تحوز إلا على نسبة 1% من إجمالي القدرات العالمية المخصصة لتخزين البيانات ومعالجتها، وهو الأمر الذي يطرح بشدة تحدي السيادة الرقمية في القارة الإفريقية. إن هذه التحديات ليست بالمعضلات غير القابلة للحل، بل على العكس من ذلك هي نقائص يمكن تحويلها بالعمل الجاد إلى فرص حقيقية لتدارك التأخر الذي سجلته قارتنا في هذا المجال. والأولوية، كل الأولوية يجب أن تتوجه نحو تعزيز الاستثمار في مجالات البنية التحتية الرقمية وبناء القدرات، وكذا تطوير التشريعات والنظم المتعلقة بالحوكمة الإلكترونية. من جانبها، وإذ تواصل بلادي العمل على تجسيد استراتيجيتها الوطنية في مجال التحول الرقمي، فإنها تلتزم تمام الالتزام بالمساهمة ولو بالقدر اليسير في رفع التحديات التي تواجهها قارتنا الإفريقية في هذا المجال. إن قارتنا تدرك تمام الإدراك حجم التحديات والرهانات المرتبطة بالثورات التكنولوجية والرقمية التي يشهدها العالم اليوم، فإفريقيا تبذل قصارى جهدها حتى لا تبقى على قارعة هذه الثورات، وحتى لا تفوتها مثلما فاتتها من قبل الثورات الصناعية والثورات المعلوماتية من جراء الاستعمار ومخلفات الاستعمار ورواسبه. وإفريقيا تسعى بكل مسؤولية لبناء شراكات دولية ناجعة ونافعة، شراكات تسهل لحاقها بركب الثورات الراهنة وتمكنها من الإسهام في صياغة مضامين هذه الثورات ومضامين الحوكمة المتعلقة بها. لكن إفريقيا بالمقابل ترفض مطلقا أن يتم تحويلها إلى حقل تجارب لتطوير هذه التكنولوجيات واختبار استعمالها، لا سيما في المجالات الأمنية والعسكرية، وهي عازمة على تفادي تكرار مآسي الماضي وتداعياته المريرة التي كلفتها الكثير. شكرا السيد الرئيس.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Attaf for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Hugh Hilton Todd, Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excellency, thank you for convening this open debate to discuss the complexities and impacts of artificial intelligence, AI, and to underscore the need for its responsible use in the context of international peace and security. I also thank His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, and the briefers for their presentations. Mr. President, the advent of artificial intelligence presents several opportunities for international peace and security, including for conflict prevention, peace building, disaster prediction and response, as well as cybersecurity, among others. The misuse of AI can also present many challenges for international peace efforts, including through cyber warfare, exploitation of weapons of mass destruction, privacy infringements, and the proliferation of automated weapons. Maximizing the opportunities and minimizing the risks of the use of AI should continue to be at the forefront of our discussions. In Guyana, we have been preparing ourselves to seize these opportunities. We are integrating AI through our digital transformation strategy and are also actively involved in the development of a regional AI policy roadmap with the support of the Caribbean AI Task Force. This is to ensure that the countries of the Caribbean are not only prepared for the global AI revolution, but are actively involved in shaping its direction in alignment with our priorities, values, and development goals. Mr. President, the conversations on AI governance are complex. In examining the complexities and promoting the responsible use of AI, I offer the following points. First, harnessing AI to advance peace and security requires a structured approach that involves robust regulation in line with international law. The use of AI must be grounded in inclusive and equitable international standards to strengthen global cooperation and regulate its military use, among other areas. The recent decision by the General Assembly to establish 2 global AI governance mechanisms is a positive step in this direction. These are good entry points for the Security Council to contribute to efforts aimed at utilizing AI tools in peace and security. So, inter alia, identifying signs of possible conflict, monitoring mis- and disinformation, risk assessment in peacekeeping operations, and respond to cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. We also stress the use of AI tools in addressing global challenges such as climate change and food insecurity, which often exacerbate conflicts. States should also consider ways in which AI could be harnessed for national security as a direct contribution to global peace and stability. For its part, Guyana is developing a framework for AI digitization focused on AI governance, cybersecurity, and data ethics. This is fundamental for socioeconomic development, which itself is a necessary corollary for peace and stability. Second, the misuse of AI poses a threat to international peace and security. In the current global context, geopolitical context, there has been increased use of AI systems, including by non-state actors, for illegal purposes. These include cyber attacks against critical infrastructure and creating fear by spreading misinformation. Autonomous weapon systems, in particular, are accessible, inexpensive, and easy to produce, making it easier for non-state actors to exploit and use them for violent purposes and to carry out mis- and disinformation campaigns in conflict areas. The Security Council, therefore, has a responsibility to ensure the responsible use of AI. Third, AI has been used by parties to evade obligations established by the Security Council, a trend that is becoming worrisome. It has been used to circumvent sanctions, increase tensions, and reduce the chances of securing ceasefire agreements. To counter these threats, the Security Council can utilize AI tools for the implementation of its resolutions. With its predictive analytical features, AI can help improve implementation of the sanctions by detecting whether they are being evaded or violated, monitor compliance with resolutions, counter mis- and disinformation that could undermine peace efforts, and track ceasefire violations. Fourth, while noting the destructive use of AI in conflicts, we acknowledge that its responsible use can be helpful in peace-building efforts and in peace-building operations. Integrating AI considerations and ethics into peacekeeping mandates would ensure the use of AI tools in peacekeeping operations are transparent, responsible, and accountable. The promotion of AI capacity building for peacekeepers would also enable the missions to be effectively equipped to track AI-driven threats, including those targeting critical infrastructure and civilians. Mr. President, in conclusion, briefings such as this one are useful in advancing the discussions on understanding the benefits and risks of the use of AI in advancing global peace and security. To this end, the Council should work proactively towards mitigating the risks to advance international peace and security and to ensure a more safe and secure world for all. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Todd for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Xavier Martinez Acha Vasquez, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Panama.
Gracias, presidente. Excelencias, Panamá felicita a la República de Corea por la convocatoria de esta reunión. Saludamos al excelentísimo señor Lee Jae-myung y agradecemos al secretario general de las Naciones Unidas por su importante contribución a este debate. Además, agradecemos a los expositores por sus valiosas intervenciones sobre uno de los desafíos más disruptivos que enfrenta el sistema de seguridad colectiva del siglo XXI, el desarrollo de la inteligencia artificial. Una tecnología que debe seguir creciendo y desarrollándose en función del bien común de toda la humanidad. Y en ese sentido, tenemos la responsabilidad de garantizar que la inteligencia artificial sea una herramienta que contribuya a la paz, al desarrollo humano, a la equidad y a una innovación responsable y jurídicamente coherente. Panamá acoge con satisfacción la resolución de la Asamblea General que establece el panel científico internacional sobre inteligencia artificial y el diálogo global sobre su gobernanza y reconoce el liderazgo de Costa Rica y España para facilitar este proceso desde un espíritu de inclusión, equilibrio y visión de futuro. Estas plataformas representan un paso concreto para garantizar que la toma de decisiones en materia de gobernanza tecnológica esté guiada por evidencia, participación y responsabilidad compartida. Necesitamos urgentemente un marco normativo internacional para el desarrollo y despliegue de la inteligencia artificial con el objetivo de asegurar la transparencia, la igualdad de acceso y la regulación efectiva. Este marco debe estar guiado por el derecho internacional y basado en principios como la transparencia, la trazabilidad de los sistemas, el control humano efectivo, la no discriminación y la protección contra usos incorrectos de esta tecnología. Las empresas que desarrollan y operan modelos de inteligencia artificial a gran escala también tienen una gran responsabilidad global. El desarrollo privado de estas tecnologías no puede seguir escapando al escrutinio público. La falta de regulación en este ámbito no se puede ignorar. Representa un riesgo sistémico que debemos afrontar colectivamente desde un escenario inclusivo y abierto. En coherencia con este enfoque multilateral, Panamá está desarrollando su Estrategia Nacional de Inteligencia Artificial, basada en principios de uso responsables, gobernanza participativa y protección de derechos. Esta estrategia está orientada no solo a fortalecer nuestras capacidades técnicas, sino a aplicar la inteligencia artificial en sectores críticos como la logística, la salud, las finanzas, áreas donde no solo Panamá tiene fortalezas indiscutibles, sino también el potencial para contribuir al avance de soluciones que beneficien a la región y al mundo. Estamos comprometidos con impulsar políticas públicas que reduzcan brechas tecnológicas y fortalezcan la confianza ciudadana. Señor presidente, la inteligencia artificial también está siendo utilizada para difundir información, manipular narrativas y polarizar sociedades. Se ha utilizado para la creación de contenido falso, afectando la confianza pública, especialmente en contextos frágiles o de conflicto. Esto representa una amenaza directa a la paz y seguridad internacional. Esta tecnología también está siendo utilizada por grupos extremistas para radicalizar, reclutar y financiarse. Plataformas digitales y videojuegos han sido explotados para identificar perfiles vulnerables y difundir propaganda de odio de forma automatizada y peligrosa. Esta amenaza se conecta con la proliferación de ciberataques, el crimen organizado y la manipulación de datos personales en escala masiva. Esta problemática requiere una arquitectura legal robusta que combine prevención, cooperación internacional y transparencia institucional. El Consejo de Seguridad debe promover estándares internacionales que aseguren la evolución humana positiva y la auditoría independiente de los sistemas de inteligencia artificial. Pueden contar con Panamá y coadyuvar a que estos retos de hoy impulsen decisiones responsables mañana. Señor presidente, en el ámbito militar, Panamá reafirma su adhesión a la declaración política sobre el uso responsable de la inteligencia artificial y la autonomía en el ámbito militar adoptada en Seúl en 2024. Reafirmamos que toda aplicación de la inteligencia artificial en contexto de defensa debe respetar los principios del derecho internacional humanitario y del marco internacional de derechos humanos, al igual que los principios establecidos en la Carta de la ONU. Rechazamos el desarrollo y uso de sistemas autónomos que tomen decisiones letales sin intervención humana efectiva. La supervisión humana debe ser asegurada en todas las etapas críticas. No hacerlo equivale a delegar la responsabilidad jurídica y moral a una máquina. Es que la inteligencia artificial no se trata solo de cómo entrenamos a las máquinas, sino de cómo decidimos gobernarlas. Si no estamos ahora, los vacíos normativos serán llenados por quienes priorizan el control sobre la equidad, la ganancia sobre la justicia y el poder sobre la paz. Desde Panamá, con un firme espíritu humanista, estamos convencidos que la inteligencia artificial representa uno de los mayores desafíos y oportunidades de nuestros tiempos. La inteligencia artificial puede ser un motor de progreso, justicia social y cooperación global, o un gran riesgo de exclusión, de desigualdad y de conflictos. Para Panamá, el valor fundamental es claro: la inteligencia artificial debe estar al servicio del ser humano, nunca por encima de él. La dignidad y los derechos humanos y la paz deben guiar cualquier desarrollo o aplicación de la inteligencia artificial. Esta jamás puede ser utilizada como arma de manipulación, control o violencia, sino como un instrumento para aliviar el sufrimiento, mejorar la educación, fortalecer los sistemas de salud y proteger nuestro planeta, siempre con la paz. Este Consejo de Seguridad no fue creado para observar pasivamente los cambios del mundo, fue creado para darles dirección. Panamá cree que el liderazgo en inteligencia artificial no se mide por la cantidad de datos que se posee, sino por la voluntad colectiva de poner esa tecnología al servicio de la humanidad. Muchas gracias, presidente.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Acha Vasquez for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Timothy Musa Kappa, Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Sierra Leone.
Mr. President, let me at the outset welcome you, Excellency Mr. Lee Jae-myung, President of the Republic of Korea, to the Security Council. And I thank you and the Republic of Korea for convening this important and timely discussion on artificial intelligence and international peace and security. Mr. President, Africa has always been in the docks of despair and suffering at the wake of every critical invention. whether it was the advent of naval technology, which saw the bundling of Africans from the African continent to different parts of the world into slavery, to the invention of the gunpowder that decimated Africans in the 19th and 20th century. Therefore, Mr. President, this topic is not only important to us as Africans, but it's quite visceral. On that note, let me thank Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and the two briefers for their insightful briefings. According to the Brookings Institute, the term artificial intelligence refers to machines that respond to stimulation consistent with traditional responses from humans, giving the human capacity for contemplation, judgment, and intention. AI thus has the ability to understand language, plan, recognize objects and sounds, learn, and solve problems. This attribution of human-like capabilities to artificial intelligence is what makes it both promising and alarming, specifically for international peace and security. According to the Secretary General, in his most recent report of 2nd July 2025 on innovative voluntary financing options for artificial intelligence capacity building, AI is a foundational general-purpose technology that will shape economic outcomes, societal well-being, and global equity for decades to come. Indeed, AI holds outstanding potential for supporting inclusivity and reducing inequalities in advancement of sustainable development and in addressing causes of conflict rooted in delayed development, and conversely, by the same token, the risk of further widening the gap between developing and developed nations and further exacerbating the root causes of conflict. Mr. President, in 2023, 120 member states co-sponsored and all 193 member states of the United Nations joined consensus and adopted the first General Assembly resolution, setting out a common framework for safe, secure, trustworthy AI. The resolution recognizes the positive impact of AI on economic, social, and environmental aspects and the tremendous potential for AI to help accelerate progress toward the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the imperative of ensuring that AI systems are designed, tested, and deployed in a manner consistent with the UN Charter and Universal Declaration on Human Rights. The resolution emphasizes that AI should not be used to undermine peace or repress human rights. Additionally, the UN Global Digital Compact that was adopted last year holds much promise for the acceleration of the implementation of the relevant aspirations of the African Union Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals through technological innovation. In June 2024, African nations adopted the landmark Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy and African Digital Compact. This strategy envisions the establishment of strong research institutions that will promote our development models and broaden investment in African youth to generate specialized capabilities in the fields of technology and position Africa in the global AI landscape. Nonetheless, there are serious political, legal, ethical considerations raised by artificial intelligence, as well as peace and security concerns, especially for conflict-prone areas. Generative AI embedded in lethal autonomous weapons and robotic systems, in nuclear command and control, in military applications, and beyond weapon systems, pose significant threats to peace and security in the absence of the embodiment of sufficient human agency in the process. For this reason, Sierra Leone affirms the African Union's position that artificial intelligence must be governed by frameworks that are open, inclusive, equitable, and trustworthy. The African Union's Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy and the African Digital Compact adopted in 2024 are timely and visionary. They emphasize responsible AI development aligned with regional needs and ethical imperatives. At the AU's 1266 Peace and Security Council meeting held on 19 March 2025, African member states reiterated the need for multilateral action to ensure AI promotes peace, security, and sustainable development on the continent. Since the majority of AI creation and regulation development is presently concentrated within a few countries, it will be necessary to construct a global governance framework to limit the adverse consequences of a few countries and private companies wielding such immense power over the rest of the world. At the national level, Sierra Leone has taken proactive steps. We are a party to the Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection, and we have developed a national cybersecurity strategy that aligns with regional and global digital governance norms. This strategy emphasizes ensuring digital technologies such as AI not to become tools of exploitation or instability. We are also in the process of developing a national artificial intelligence framework with a focus on ethics, inclusion, and peace-oriented innovation. This framework aims to strengthen national institutions' capacity to understand, govern, and responsibly deploy artificial intelligence. Mr. President, to address the complexities, multifaceted impact, and responsible use of AI, especially in peace and security domain, we must prioritize prevention uses, that is, deploying AI for early warning, conflict analysis, climate resilience, and humanitarian response, particularly in regions of acute vulnerability. Let me therefore emphasize that the Security Council has a critical role in ensuring responsible application of AI in the context of maintaining international peace and security. The Council can encourage best practices in peace operations, promote safeguards to retain human agency in military uses, and ensure compliance with international law and international humanitarian law. Furthermore, the unregulated weaponization of AI, its diversion to non-state actors, and the destabilizing effect of AI-driven disinformation must be addressed through global accountability frameworks and rapid response mechanisms. The Security Council does complement wider UN effort, promoting coherence with the General Assembly, the Global Digital Compact, and regional frameworks such as the African Continental AI Strategy. In light of the foregoing, let me share 4 key recommendations. First, in line with the interdisciplinary and multi-stakeholder approach of the Global Digital Compact and the Pact for the Future, we encourage international organizations to deepen engagement with governments, peace builders, civil society, academia, and the private sector to co-design AI systems that are tailored to promoting peace, development, and resilience, especially in post-conflict settings. Second, there is a need to establish global norms and principles that hold both state and non-state actors accountable for deploying or developing AI systems with foreseeable risk of undermining peace, fueling conflict, or violating international law. This must include outright prohibition of use of tools integrating generative AI against civilians and civilian infrastructure, safeguards against militarization of AI, accountability for misuse, and rapid response to establish misuse and the retention of human agency in the use of AI in the military domain. Third, we are concerned that much of AI development and regulation remains concentrated in a small number of countries and private entities. We call on the United Nations to lead in shaping an inclusive and equitable governance architecture that addresses this imbalance. Measures must be taken to avoid entrenched digital inequality, algorithmic biases, and the concentration of AI capabilities in ways that exclude countries in the global south. The Pact for the Future rightly emphasizes capacity building, technology transfer, and equitable access as prerequisite for shared digital progress. Investing in AI literacy, digital skills, and ethical innovation ecosystems in developing countries is essential for promoting asymmetries that could widen geopolitical and digital divides. In this context, there is a need for upgrade in national cybersecurity capabilities and strategies in line with the impending risk posed by AI solution, while continually assessing AI's contributions in modern warfare. Finally, despite the rapid uptake of AI technologies in various sectors, there is a clear lack of empirical data on the extent and impact of AI applications in conflict settings. Sierra Leone calls for a comprehensive global mapping and risk assessment of AI use in military and peace and security domains. This should be done in order to inform appropriate regulation, safeguards, and cooperative frameworks, as well as facilitating continual updates and vigilant monitoring. Mr. President, Sierra Leone also urges that all AI development be rooted in these key fundamental principles: transparency, fairness, inclusivity, accountability, and respect for human rights. Those designing the most advanced AI models must be vigilant in addressing algorithmic biases and discriminatory outcomes. Government, developers, and civil society must work in partnership to ensure that new capabilities are aligned with the UN Charter and the Sustainable Goals. In conclusion, Sierra Leone calls for AI to be developed in a manner that fully respects international law, including international humanitarian law, and is guided by ethical principles that place human dignity, agency, and equity at the center, while reaffirming its commitment to working with member states, regional bodies, and the UN system to ensure that artificial intelligence becomes a force for peace and progress, not polarization or conflict. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Kappa for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Khawaja Muhammad Asif, Minister for Defense of Pakistan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. President, I deeply appreciate the Republic of Korea's initiative for convening this open debate. It is of special significance that President Lee Jae-myung is personally presiding over our deliberations. I thank Secretary General Guterres for his insightful and valuable briefing. We also thank other briefers. AI, Mr. President, is reshaping our world at breathtaking pace. It is the most consequential dual-use technology of our times, capable of accelerating socio-economic progress, but equally capable of deepening inequalities and destabilizing international order. Harnessed responsibly, AI can drive inclusive growth and shared prosperity. In the absence of global normative standards and legal guardrails, the AI revolution risks reinforcing digital divides, entrenching new forms of dependency, and imperiling peace. Unregulated and irresponsible use of AI enables disinformation campaigns, offensive cyber operations, and development of new types of armaments. The accelerating weaponization of AI through autonomous weapon systems and AI-driven command and control systems pose a grave danger. Mr. President, in recognition of the importance of this technology, Pakistan developed its first ever national artificial intelligence policy in July 2025. This transformative framework seeks to build AI infrastructure, train 1 million people, and ensure responsible, ethical use of AI. It lays out 6 pillars prioritizing innovation, public awareness, secure systems, sectorial transformation, infrastructure, and international partnership. Pakistan also hosted regional consultations on responsible AI in military domain. In Islamabad on 17 June 2025, in partnership with the Republic of Korea, the Netherlands, and Spain. We appreciate the leadership of ROK and Netherlands in this area. Excellencies, the AI transformation is unfolding in a highly uncertain international environment. The UN Charter is under strain. There is an attempt to normalize use of force. Arms control frameworks are fraying. Strategic competition is intensifying, and technological disparities are deepening. In such a context, the militarization of AI compounds the sense of insecurity, undermines the principle of equal security for all, and erodes trust. Excellencies, in the recent conflict in the subcontinent between India and Pakistan, for the first time, autonomous loitering munitions and high-speed dual-capable cruise missiles were used by one nuclear-armed state against another during the military exchange, which manifests the dangers which AI can pose. These developments raise serious questions for the future of warfare. 3 lessons are clear. 1, AI lowers the threshold for use of force, making wars more politically and operationally feasible. 2, AI compresses decisions time, narrowing the window for diplomacy and de-escalation. And 3, AI blurs domain boundaries, merging cyber, kinetic, and informational effects in unpredictable ways. Our collective approach to meet these challenges must rest on the following principle. First, the UN Charter and international law must fully govern the development and use of AI. Applications and without meaningful human control should be prohibited. Second, strategic communication on AI nuclear intersections is vital to reduce risk of miscalculation. Third, states must commit to measures that prevent destabilizing use and preemptive incentives. Fourth, developing countries must have the capacity, access, and voice to shape AI governance. Fifth, AI must not become a tool of coercion or technological monopoly. 6, AI governance must be anchored in the legitimacy of the United Nations system. 7, attempts to monopolize strategic advantage will fail. The only sustainable path is cooperation based on mutual respect. Excellencies, development dimension of AI is crucial. The adoption of General Assembly Resolutions 78/311 led by China last year was a landmark achievement that established the first multilateral agreed blueprint for AI capacity building. Pakistan also welcomes the establishment of annual dialogue on AI governance, along with the International Scientific Panel. We also look forward to exploring further options of promoting AI capacity building by the UN. Mr. President, we must ensure that AI is harnessed to promote peace and development, not conflict and instability. Let us work together to shape an AI architecture that is inclusive, equitable, and effective. Let us preserve the primacy of human judgment in matters of war and peace, ensuring that even in an age of intelligent machines, innovation is guided by principles of morality and humanity. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Asif for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ma Chaoshu, Executive Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of China.
主席先生，首先感谢韩国发起此次安理会公开辩论。当前全球智能化迅速发展，人工智能 在赋能千行百业的同时，也带来了新的风险和挑战。国际社会急需就人工智能全球治理凝聚共识，确保人工智能朝着向善普惠的方向发展。2023年，习近平主席提出全球人工智能治理倡议，为加强全球人工智能治理指明了方向。联合国安理会肩负着维护国际和平与安全的首要责任，对助力人工智能全球治理、管控非传统安全风险责无旁贷。为此，我们要努力做到以下几点：第一，树立以人为本、智能向善的价值取向。
Developing AI for good. The development of artificial intelligence must always aim to enhance the well-being of humanity. It must be predicated on respect for human dignity, rights and interests, and be conducive to advancing human civilization. It is essential to accelerate the establishment and refinement of ethical norms and accountability mechanisms for AI, clearly delineate the responsibilities and power of relevant stakeholders, and ensure that AI research, development, and application adhere to international law and align with shared values of humanity. Second, we must accelerate empowerment action in the spirit of fairness, inclusiveness, openness, and sharing. It is vital to jointly foster an open, inclusive, fair, and non-discriminatory environment for technological development and firmly oppose unilateralism and protectionism. Reject the practices of decoupling, severing supply chains, and erecting high fences around a small yard. Avoid drawing ideological lines or overstretching the concept of national security and eliminate artificially imposed technological barriers. We must strengthen AI capacity building and accelerate efforts to bridge the North-South AI divide. China supports the Security Council in exploring AI application scenarios in peacekeeping and peace building, harnessing technology to empower peace. Third, we must firmly uphold the fundamental principles of peaceful use, safety, and controllability. It's essential to ensure that AI remains under human control and prevent the emergence of lethal autonomous weapons that operate without human intervention. When it comes to military application of AI technologies, all countries, major countries in particular, should take a prudent and responsible approach to prevent arms race and malicious use and misuse of AI, which may lead to disasters. The Security Council should give due regard to the risks associated with the misuse of AI by terrorist groups, extremist forces, and transnational criminal networks, and promote joint international response. Fourth, we must build a governance system based on peace, shared responsibility, and global solidarity. It's essential to step up coordination on AI strategies, governance norms, and technical standards, and develop AI governance frameworks, norms, and standards based on broad consensus. We support the UN in playing a central role in global AI governance. China welcomes the resolution adopted by the 79th session of the UN General Assembly to establish two mechanisms, namely the Global Dialogue on AI Governance and the Independent International Scientific Panel on AI. We hope that all parties can leverage this opportunity to engage in meaningful discussions on global AI governance. President, China remains committed to advancing global AI governance and international cooperation. Since last year, China has promoted the consensus-based adoption of the UNGA resolution entitled Enhancing International Cooperation on Capacity Building of Artificial Intelligence. We hosted the 2025 World AI Conference and the high-level meeting on global AI governance, released the Global AI Governance Action Plan, and proposed the creation of a global AI cooperation organization. Looking ahead, China will provide 200 capacity-building programs on digital economy and AI to developing countries to empower the global south in achieving sustainable development. China attaches great importance to the security risks posed by the military applications of artificial intelligence and has consistently participated in global AI governance in the military domain with a responsible and constructive approach. In 2021, China released its position paper on regulating military applications of artificial intelligence and has since actively promoted the building of international consensus on the responsible development and use of AI in the military domain. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the founding of the UN, presenting a new opportunity to reform and improve the global governance system. Not long ago, President Xi Jinping solemnly put forward the Global Governance Initiative, calling on all countries to build a more just and equitable global governance system and to work together toward a community with a shared future for humankind. This provides fundamental guidance for global governance in emerging fields, including artificial intelligence. President, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, China will continue to work with all countries to actively participate in global AI governance and contribute wisdom and strength to building a world of lasting peace and universal security. Thank you, President.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Ma for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Mikhail Krachos, Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy of the United States.
My sincere thanks to the Republic of Korea as President of the Council and to President Lee as Chair, Secretary General Gutierrez, and to our briefers today, Professor Bengio and Professor Choi. Your Excellencies, the United States is committed to creating, promoting, and protecting the most innovative AI ecosystem in the world. AI is set to define the future of economic growth, national security, and global competitiveness. The Trump administration believes it is our responsibility to ensure this technology's development benefits all of our fellow citizens, safeguards their liberty and way of life, and protects our next generation. 2 months ago, President Trump unveiled America's AI Action Plan, based on 3 pillars: accelerating AI innovation, building AI infrastructure, and leading international AI diplomacy and security. The United States is resolved to stand at the forefront in developing and deploying frontier AI models and cutting-edge AI applications to address national security risks and usher in a new era of international peace and prosperity. Facilitating better, faster decision-making and enhanced situational awareness for warfighters and statesmen alike, AI technology will have revolutionary applications for war and for peace. But the improper use of AI systems can erode deterrence, create destabilizing effects, and reinforce systems of political control and social engineering. Knowing that, we are resolved that AI technologies used in national security applications are consistent with the highest levels and standards of privacy, civil liberties, transparency, and protections found in the laws of the United States. American companies are leading the charge in advancing the reliability and usefulness of AI systems held to the highest standards of our commercial sector. We totally reject all efforts by international bodies to assert centralized control and global governance of AI. We believe that the responsible diffusion of AI will help pave the way to a flourishing future, one of increased productivity, empowered individuals, and revolutions in scientific advancement. The path to this world is not found in bureaucratic management, but in the freedom and duty of citizens, the prudence and cooperation of statesmen, and the independence and sovereignty of nations. We believe broad overregulation incentivizes centralization, stifles innovation, and increases the danger that these tools will be used for tyranny and conquest. Ideological fixations on social equity, climate catastrophism, and so-called existential risk are dangers to progress and obstacles to responsibly harnessing this technology as an extension of human ingenuity and capacities. Your Excellencies, the United States is focused on establishing American AI as a global gold standard and enabling allies and trade partners to build their own sovereign AI ecosystems with secure American technology. The President has called for an American AI export program which will support the deployment of full-stack AI technology packages globally. Through deal-making and diplomacy, we can create an AI ecosystem that fosters and promotes mutual prosperity and security. We call on all members of this Council to do the same. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Kraciuc for his statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me thank the Secretary General for his remarks, as well as the two briefers, Professor Benjo and Professor Choi, for sharing their insights with us. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the Republic of Korea for convening us today and for the tireless efforts in the AI domain. Mr. President, the unprecedented speed of AI innovation has brought about new opportunities for sustainable development, human rights, and peace and security. But we have also seen that AI carries significant risks, especially if not managed or used properly. AI exacerbates the security threats we face, for example, when it amplifies mis- and disinformation campaigns or malicious cyber activities. These threats do not only destabilize societies and jeopardize democracies, but also undermine the legitimacy and efforts of UN peacekeepers. AI operates in the virtual space, but it can put real people at real risk. We need to mitigate those risks and counter abuse and misuse, and we need to do so quickly. Together, we must ensure that AI benefits all of us. We must work against widening digital divides and against the potential of AI to cause damage and conflict. Mr. President, Denmark's main priority is to ensure safe and trustworthy AI that is used in compliance with international law, in particular international humanitarian law and international human rights law. This includes AI-enabled weapons. Responsibility and accountability cannot be delegated to machines. Human oversight and human control in decision-making is required. In this regard, Denmark is encouraged by continued deepening of international cooperation in relation to AI. We support the creation of a cohesive global framework for AI governance, and Denmark has also endorsed the Paris Declaration on maintaining human control in AI-enabled weapon systems. We call for a particular focus on accountability, as well as on a multi-stakeholder approach that involves civil society, technical experts, industry, and academia alike. Mr. President, AI technologies can bolster the UN's capabilities in multiple ways. For example, by detecting and addressing cyber threats, monitoring the implementation of sanction regimes, and countering mis- and disinformation and hate speech. AI has the potential to enhance the safety and operational effectiveness of UN peace operations and support remote monitoring of ceasefire agreements. This is particularly important on the ground, where UN peace operations work under difficult and dangerous circumstances to implement the mandates adopted by this Council. AI models can process data from satellites, drones, and sensors in real time to monitor movement of troops, vehicles, and artillery, and issue automated alerts. Instead of relying on manual reports, UN staff can respond more quickly with decision-making supported by technology. These opportunities of AI cannot be realized without decisive action and commitment. We must ensure that AI technologies are developed, deployed, and managed responsibly. Mr. President, to conclude, Denmark stands ready to contribute to ensure that AI systems remain safe, secure, and trustworthy. We welcome the engagement of this Council, and we look forward to further considerations on how AI systems can be leveraged by the UN to advance international peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for her statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Благодарим Антонио Гутерреша и докладчиков за вклад в нашу дискуссию. Сегодня искусственный интеллект – это не только модная тема, о которой кто только не рассуждает, но и прежде всего залог успешного технологического развития, экономического и общественного прогресса, а также важнейший элемент безопасности любого государства. Технологии искусственного интеллекта находят применение в политической, социальной, экономической и оборонной сферах. Однако при всем этом данная технология
This technology also carries serious risks and is emerging as a new factor that could affect the stability of the entire system of international relations. AI-based technologies can influence public opinion and election outcomes through the dissemination of news, publications, and fake content on social media. It can also impact the functioning of critical infrastructure in other countries. And let's be honest, no one in the world fully understands all the risks associated with AI, and this fact cannot be ignored. Let me begin with the positives. Artificial intelligence undoubtedly has significant potential to promote economic development. According to various estimates, if current growth rates continue, the AI industry could contribute up to $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Moreover, artificial intelligence can help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Relevant applications are already being developed and implemented to address challenges in areas such as climate change and healthcare. One of AI's key features is its potential impact on employment. According to the projections of the International Monetary Fund, AI is capable of taking over nearly 40% of jobs worldwide, replacing and supplementing human labor. As a result, countries with developed economies will have greater opportunities to leverage its benefits compared to emerging markets and developing nations. This will exacerbate digital inequality and the already significant imbalance in global development, which in turn could lead to social tensions and new conflicts. Given the obvious benefits of AI and the incentives to adopt its most advanced forms, the so-called artificial intelligence race, the drive to outpace geopolitical rivals by rapidly expanding the boundaries of a still unknown and uncontrolled technology, without commensurate efforts to ensure its safety for all actors, could, like the arms race, pose an existential risk to humanity's future. And this is not the only potential threat posed by the development of artificial intelligence. It is therefore no surprise that the number of those who see AI primarily as an opportunity is comparable to those who view it mainly as a potential threat. In any case, I would venture to say that there is virtually no one in the world who is indifferent to this issue today, and it is predictably becoming a topic of discussion across a number of political and expert bodies. The United Nations Security Council is no exception. However, we are convinced that discussions on this topic within this key UN body tasked with maintaining international peace and security face clear limitations. First of all, we find it difficult to understand how the generic topic of artificial intelligence aligns with the Security Council's clearly defined mandate under the UN Charter, mainly the mandate to maintain international peace and security. Second, and equally important, the Security Council consists of 15 member states. And in the Council, there is a clear and unnatural overrepresentation of Western states. This creates a risk that that group of states interested in preserving and consolidating their technological leadership in this area may attempt to impose a narrow, self-serving approach on the international community at the expense of inclusive, specialized formats carrying out practical work in this area. For example, discussions on cyber attacks involving artificial intelligence should be held within the global mechanism established to replace the UN Open-Ended Working Group on security of and in the use of ICTs. This negotiation platform is mandated to address key ICT security issues, including artificial intelligence. This new body, unlike the UN Security Council, will allow all countries to participate equally in decision-making. When it comes to the military aspects of AI use, multilateral and inclusive specialized platforms also exist for this purpose, primarily the group of governmental experts on lethal autonomous weapon systems within the framework of the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, as well as the UN Disarmament Commission. These bodies, incidentally, have yet to develop a common understanding of even the most basic issues, including terminology. I think we all understand that in this context, moving discussions of such sensitive issues to other fora, especially the Security Council, and in particular discussions of the impact of AI technologies on other non-proliferation and disarmament aspects, is at the very least premature. Mr. President, I ask that you do not project our position regarding the Security Council and AI onto the UN as a whole. We believe that our global organization can and should play a coordinating role in AI development as a counterbalance to various non-inclusive and temporary formats with politicized agendas. What is key, in our view, is to reach universal agreements with states playing the leading role based on equitable dialogue and, of course, with due consideration for all of the negotiation participants' legitimate interests. Unfortunately, the states I referred to earlier are not only trying to widen their technological gap with the global south in AI, as I said, they are also organizing non-inclusive summits on the responsible military use of AI, which are destructive in nature. I refer in particular to the Seoul Summit, AI Summit of 2024, a limited, restricted format to which most developing countries were not invited. Similar examples include the Bletchley Conference in 2023 and the Paris Conference in 2025. These events and the documents they adopt do not reflect the views of all stakeholders and cannot serve as a foundation for future work that would reflect a common understanding of this issue. The noble goal of preventatively developing responsible AI regulation is only noble in words. In reality, the regulatory system that is being imposed is dangerous and harmful as it explicitly divides AI applications into good and bad. This raises the key question, who will decide what is responsible use and what is not? It seems that this decision will end up being with the same restricted group of countries, excluding the vast majority of UN member states. Attempts to establish certain countries' rules and standards at the Security Council level and to have them replace international legal instruments, including by promoting non-inclusive formats and coalitions, is unlikely to bring us closer to a shared approach to AI, including its military aspects. This could ultimately backfire and have a negative impact on the maintenance of international peace and security. We would caution our colleagues against such reckless steps. Our position remains unchanged. We support the UN's coordinating role in AI matters. We welcome the creation of mechanisms on AI issues within the framework of the UN, such as the UN Global Dialogue and the Independent International Scientific Panel. We look forward to productive discussions within these mechanisms based on respect for state sovereignty and compliance with national laws by AI developers. We hope that everyone in this room shares the conviction that AI must never be allowed to dominate over humans and human values. For our part, we are ready to continue with substantive, equitable, and mutually respectful work on all aspects of artificial intelligence in all inclusive specialized bodies in order to find solutions that satisfy everyone and maximize the benefits of AI for the entire planet. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of France.
Mr. President, I'd like to thank the Republic of Korea for the initiative of holding this open debate. I'd also like to thank the UN Secretary General for his remarks complimenting the written report. And I thank the briefers, Mr. Benjo and Ms. Choi, for their briefings. Artificial intelligence is the major technological revolution of our century. It is already transforming our societies and economies. In the coming years, it will increasingly influence international peace and security. The Secretary General pointed this out. This technology must serve peace and the common good. France is committed to this. We launched the Global Partnership on AI in 2019 alongside Canada. France is implementing the European AI regulation governing high-risk uses. We've also adopted the Global Digital Compact at the Summit of the Future 1 year ago. In February 2025, during the Summit for Action on Artificial Intelligence, we launched the Current AI initiative with the aim of placing AI at the service of the public interest. Three key principles must guide our action. Firstly, the new opportunities offered by artificial intelligence must strengthen the impact and the effectiveness of United Nations action. Used responsibly, AI's data collection and analysis capabilities can improve the protection of civilian populations and facilitate the work of peace operations. AI can be mobilized to identify early warning signals of conflicts. It can be used for planning, decision support, performance measurement, and also training. AI also allows us to better anticipate and manage the risk of humanitarian crises, climate disasters, and help us to reduce the environmental impact of peace operations. This is why France supports the modernization of tools serving peace, such as decision support platforms like UnitAware or early warning systems in Africa within the framework of the Silencing the Guns project and the use of AI for this purpose. Secondly, the use of AI in matters pertaining to peace and security must be able to be regulated. Disinformation and the manipulation of information facilitated by generative AI threaten our democracies, undermine peace operations, and endanger the security of peacekeepers. In cyberspace, AI increases the capabilities of those who seek to exploit our vulnerabilities. In the military domain, the prospect of weapons systems integrating AI presents risks regarding compliance with international humanitarian law. This is why we fully agree with the Secretary General, namely that no decision of life or death should ever be transferred to an autonomous weapons system operating without any human control. To build a future international regulatory instrument for lethal autonomous weapon systems, France will remain engaged in the dedicated group of governmental experts, and their work must continue beyond 2026. At the United Nations, and in accordance with General Assembly Resolution 79239, introduced by the Republic of Korea and adopted last December, we must continue to collectively assess the consequences of applying artificial intelligence in the military domain. In other fora, France will continue the work carried out by the European Union and the Council of Europe, as well as by South Korea and the Netherlands at the summits on responsible AI in the military domain, RE-AIM. Thirdly, we must promote governance around AI that is inclusive, multilateral, and respectful of fundamental rights. Linguistic fragmentation would mean new rivalries in the world. Normative fragmentation would mean competition between rival models and would deepen digital divides. Such a prospect is not desirable for any state. A common governance architecture must be built based on international law and respect for human rights. That's why France supports the rapid implementation of the Independent Scientific Panel and the global dialogue provided for by the Global Digital Compact of the United Nations. Following on from the Paris Summit for AI Action, we must develop AI that is trustworthy, inclusive, and environmentally sustainable. We share the view of several of our partners that the Security Council has a specific role to play. It must do so in coherence with other ongoing processes at the United Nations or elsewhere by providing added value on issues within its mandate, whether that be conflict prevention, peacekeeping, or peace building. Mr. President, in conclusion, France calls for collective mobilization so that artificial intelligence remains a tool at the service of peace, sustainable development, and human rights. We must act together so that this technological revolution means shared progress for all and not new divisions. France will continue to make its full contribution to this common effort. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Representative of France for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Karol Nawrocki, President of Poland.
President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this debate. Artificial intelligence is no longer a laboratory experiment. It is a tool used by millions of people around the world every day in all areas of our life, including national security. Today, our security is threatened not only by tanks and missiles, but also cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, the use of so-called deepfakes, and manipulation in the information space. These are also modern weapons, very different from conventional ones. In recent years, Poland, like many others, has become the target of increasingly intense attacks from hostile countries, mainly Russia. We are attacked every day. Let me mention that only last year, over 100,000 confined incidents were reported in Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that AI can be our shield on this new cyber battlefield and give us a real advantage. Poland is not standing on the sidelines of this revolution. We have enormous potential and great examples from our history in which outstanding Polish scientists influenced the fate of the world. Let me recall Polish mathematicians Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Różycki, and Henryk Zygalski. I know that it's very difficult to pronounce it in English, who broke the Enigma code during World War II, combining science, courage, and allied cooperation to protect human lives. Many innovative technology startups are developing in Poland today, creating solutions based on AI. Our research teams and technical universities are involved in international projects and leading global companies. I'm convinced that we must do everything we can to support the development of new technologies, including those that help strengthen our resilience and national security. To achieve that goal, 3 weeks ago, I signed a legislative initiative to establish a breakthrough technology development fund in Poland. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, in Poland we are fully aware that for artificial intelligence to truly serve peace and global development, it must be based on much more than just technology. It must be based on transparent principles consistent with human ethics and international regulations. We need a forum where countries can share their experiences in the responsible implementation of AI, including in the security and defense sector. I think that the Security Council can become a leader in developing rules for the use of AI in armed conflicts and enforce standards limiting its use against humans. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence is a tool. So little and so much. It is up to us whether it will be a tool of creation or a tool of destruction, whether we will use it to protect our values or allow it to be used against them. Poland is ready to cooperate, to share our know-how, to collaborate in developing best practices, to engage in international cooperation in the spirit of ethics, with a view to preserving peace and the principles of international law. Thank you very much for your attention.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Nawrocki for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, President of Portugal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excellencies, this is a crucial and timely debate. Artificial intelligence develops faster than our capacity to assess its impact. Its integration into the military domain has particularly profound implications. If misused, it threatens global stability, undermines trust between states, and jeopardizes international humanitarian law. This is namely the case with autonomous weapon systems. Human control, decision, and accountability must be at the heart of the use of force. It is a moral, ethical, and legal responsibility that cannot and should not be delegated. This is why Portugal strongly supports the Secretary General's recommendation for an international treaty banning lethal autonomous weapon systems. Excellencies, we believe results are better achieved through cooperation. With Canada, Portugal co-chairs the Working Group on Accountability, following the political declaration on the responsible military use of AI. We are also engaged in the process on responsible use of AI in the military. Finally, we are investing in digital training so that the benefits of AI reach all regions on an equal footing. The UN Portugal Digital Fellowship Capacity Building Program is the latest example. Excellencies, the Security Council has a decisive role to play in ensuring that AI is used for the common good. Alongside strategic debates, it can take very practical measures within its mandate, like providing missions with the means to confront disinformation campaigns, creating practical guides on AI in conflict scenarios, or use AI tools to improve risk prevention and analysis. Excellencies, innovation must be at the service of humanity, never against it. Artificial intelligence must be an ally of peace, security, and dignity of all citizens. Portugal is fully committed to this common goal, always faithful to the United Nations Charter. Thank you very much for your attention.
Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Aidarus Qassem Abdulaziz Al Jubaidi, Vice President of Yemen.
شكرا سيدي الرئيس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيد الرئيس أصحاب المعالي والسعادة.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence is a radical change in our modern world. It brings a tremendous capacity for innovation and development, but also poses challenges and risks that could exacerbate instability, especially in countries that have suffered from protracted conflicts. For decades, our people have suffered from oppression, conflicts, and marginalization, as well as instability, especially by terrorist Houthi militias that are supported from Iran. We saw how artificial intelligence can be used as a tool by the Houthis to spread misinformation and false propaganda, and fuel Iran's efforts to spread autonomous weapons systems and threaten security and stability. Artificial intelligence is a double-edged sword. Without good governance, it could turn into a tool used by terrorist groups to threaten international peace and security and international and regional security. At the same time, if used responsibly, it could contribute to building peace, promoting good governance, and it will allow our societies to rebuild their institutions and basic services. Mr. President, addressing artificial intelligence is not a purely technical matter. It is an issue of sovereignty and the dignity of peoples. If controlled by foreign parties, it could threaten fragile stability. But if used responsibly, it could support local governance and provide early warning tools to prevent conflicts and promote economic resilience. To benefit from artificial intelligence to the maximum, we should take into account 4 priorities. 1. Development. Artificial intelligence could help states that suffer from wars, such as Yemen, in rebuilding their basic services in health, education, energy, and water management sectors. Its agriculture and climate prediction technologies can promote adaptation to environmental challenges, which could exacerbate instability. 2. Local peace and security. Using artificial intelligence to promote peace is very important. In my country, this could take place by monitoring the ceasefire and identifying the flow of illicit arms, while promoting open-source information gathering on the moves of terrorist Houthi militias and their propaganda networks. If used correctly, it could promote the trust of societies in their local institutions and reassure donors that their assistance is delivered to those in need. 3. International and regional peace and security. Responsible use of advanced technologies and artificial intelligence is closely linked to international and regional peace and security. We saw how the access by Houthi militias to this technology had a direct impact on security in the region. It led to the targeting of maritime navigation corridors, the global economy, energy supplies, and civilian infrastructure in the region. This is why, if this technology falls in the hands of illegal terrorists, we could witness an escalation that we might not be able to control in the future. Therefore, we are playing our role in promoting security and stability by explaining our experience first and turning it into an opportunity for cooperation and collaboration between the Presidential Leadership Council and the Arab Alliance and international community, based on our prevention strategy adopted by the Presidential Leadership Council. 4. Achieving justice and respecting the principles of the UN Charter. Artificial intelligence should be a helping factor to achieve justice and law enforcement, not only locally but also internationally. Artificial intelligence should not negatively affect the aspirations or rights of people as guaranteed by international instruments and conventions, especially the UN Charter. For this reason, this technology should be used to serve the people in developing themselves and promoting their participation at the United Nations to ensure their right to self-determination in line with their will. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Al-Jubaidi for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Sitibani Ligama Mamada Labuka, Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Civil Service and Public Enterprises and Information of Fiji.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Jae-myung Lee, Your Excellencies. I'm indeed grateful for this opportunity to speak on this issue, and I sincerely thank the Republic of Korea for their leadership this month. We now live in a world where our lives are reliant on digital technologies. In line with the Pact of the Future, technological advancements and enhanced artificial intelligence can support peace and security by improving human capacity to detect, prevent, and manage conflict. But AI cannot resolve them on its own. Peace is ultimately a human process involving trust, justice, and political will. AI is a digital tool, not a solution in itself. AI can analyze conflict prevention and early warning for timely intervention by governments and organizations. AI strengthens defenses against cyber attacks and the spread of disinformation. It can also detect online hate speech or extremist recruitment. In conflict zones, including in states affected by climate change and natural disasters, AI enhances the mapping and location of displaced populations. The UN Security Council, therefore, needs to consider a global governance architecture through an intergovernmental process on the use of AI in peace and security, and to map clearly its risks and challenges. On our part, the Pacific leaders have endorsed the Ocean of Peace Declaration. We have declared our region as a zone of peace where sovereignty, respect, and rights uphold our way of life. A region free from military interference, a region that upholds and sustains peace. In closing, I cannot overemphasize the need for the United Nations Security Council to act in an inclusive process to examine the potential that AI has to offer, including its risks in peace and security. We need to act swiftly together now. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Rabuka for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ervin Ibrahimovic, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs of Montenegro.
Thank you, Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues. I thank the Republic of Korea for convening this important debate at such a critical moment. Across the globe, unresolved conflicts and rising geopolitical tensions test our collective ability to safeguard peace. At the same time, the pace of technological transformation brings new and complex risks. Among them, artificial intelligence stands out, holding not only extraordinary potential to advance humanity, but also the power to deepen existing security challenges. AI can act as a powerful force to good, strengthening peacekeeping, early warning and conflict prevention, and humanitarian response. Yet, in the wrong hands or without proper safeguards, it can be weaponized to spread disinformation, enable cyber attacks, or even design novel weapons. Montenegro is fully aware of both risks and opportunities that AI brings. By the end of this year, we will finalize our first national strategy for AI. It will provide a comprehensive framework for the responsible development and use of this technology. As a future member of the EU, we will strive to align it with the highest standards of the EU AI Act. Mr. President, raising awareness of risk must go hand in hand with unlocking the potential of AI for innovation, security, and sustainable development. This requires global accountability and strong partnership. The private sector, as the primary driver of technological advancement, must be a key partner in building safe, transparent, and human-centered AI solutions. International cooperation is also necessary. The Security Council has a distinct role to play in ensuring that AI contribution to peace and security rather than undermine them. We encourage collective effort to establish norms and guidelines, foster trust and transparency, and ensure that all countries benefit from this technology in a safe and responsible manner. In this regard, Montenegro welcomes the launch of the Global Dialogue on AI Governance. Considering its rapid advancement, including the future of artificial general intelligence, we see it is a unique, inclusive platform that brings together multi-stakeholders to advance collective approaches in line with Global Digital Compact. In closing, allow me to reaffirm Montenegro's readiness to contribute constructively to this effort. If we don't act responsibly today, we risk handing future generations a technology that divides rather than unites. But if we act together, AI can become a force for peace, not a danger. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Abraham Mobic for the statement. Now I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Dick Schoof, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Thank you, Mr. President. When the Dutch philosopher Cornelis Verhoeven was asked for his opinion on the digital revolution, he said, "Computers will never be able to do what we do because we created them." And then again, that's what the ape said about us. It might sound like a flippant remark, but there's an element of truth to it too. We're here today to talk about artificial intelligence and international peace and security. It's such an important topic that South Korea has put it on the Security Council agenda, which we greatly appreciate. And when it comes to AI, opinion is generally divided into two camps, for and against. But if we look more closely, it's clear that the positive and negative views on AI's potential are equally valid. Because AI can indeed help provide solutions to global issues like climate change, food security, water management, and collateral damage in military conflicts. But it can also be used for cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns, so there's every reason for us to develop accountability mechanisms. In 2023, the Netherlands and South Korea jointly initiated a broad international debate on the responsible use of AI in the military domain, the RE-AIM process. As part of this process, the Netherlands launched a global commission on responsible AI in the military domain. This independent body is made up of around 20 international commissioners, from philosophers and lawyers to mathematicians and computer scientists, and is supported by a broad group of experts. It's been working on this issue for the past 18 months, and today it's presenting its final report with concrete recommendations on how governments can embed this theme in their policy agendas. But beyond the military domain, AI has already spread more broadly into our day-to-day lives. And while everyone accepts that we need security safeguards for military applications, that isn't automatically the case in other areas. So we need to pay special attention to those areas too. This is a task that the Netherlands takes very seriously. By drawing up frameworks and impact analyses for the use of AI and algorithms, as well as by working with a range of organizations concerned with raising awareness and providing information on AI, including ELSA Labs, which stands for Ethical, Legal and Societal Aspects of AI. But of course, this requires a broader approach too. The Netherlands supports the EU vision on jointly building an innovative European ecosystem focused on people, trust and accountability. These are all steps in the right